He sees an opportunity to turn these people who are just, hoodlums, ne'er-do-wells. How often do they well? Ne'er. And it's like, this is the antithesis of this goddamn series. Pointless. Really good. Really good production value, but pointless.
And then it comes out, and I literally was like, oh, and it happened, and I was like I spasmed.
Hey everybody, welcome back to ThreadX3 Productions. I am Nick.
And I am Nate.
And today we're going to be talking about the Book of Boba Fett. So last time we talked about it, it was the first 2 episodes. Now we have episode 4 that just came out, so let's talk about, has it been getting any better? Has it not been getting any better? I don't know. Why don't you go first?
No, you know what? Because typically our mantra is we want to end on a positive note. But why don't you go first? Because this man, we were like, what should we talk about? And we're like, let's do Boba Fett, because I'm sitting here on a high from last episode, and Nick's like, oh yeah, I have thoughts, mostly frustration, and I quite literally embodied Ryan Reynolds from Harold and Kumar with the whole, but why? So give us your side of episode. Well, okay. First, since it's topical, episode 4, give us your thoughts, and then.
Well, I mean, I'll go chronological. Episode 3, I actually really enjoyed. Aside from the flashback was pointless. The flashback could have been 2 lines of dialogue, but instead we went into the back to tank, which granted he got interrupted, and so that's why it was a small flashback. But just the fact that it was a flashback at all, it was just like, okay, cool. I don't know. At that point, I was done with fucking flashbacks. I'm like, this is so fucking stupid. Why do we have to keep doing this? Why the fuck can't we just tell the fucking story? Why does it have to be 80 million fucking flashbacks? Of course, I say that before knowing what happens in episode 4, but let's not get ahead of ourselves. So just, seeing him getting in the back to tank, I was like, come on! Jesus, but luckily that was maybe 5 minutes, and boom, it's over. The rest of the episode, loved it. Oh my god. And I think that that's my main problem with the flashback, is that it seems so unnecessary, because the rest of the episode I loved, absolutely loved. I love the fact that he's building this family. He goes to these people originally thinking that he's going to maybe fuck them up or something like that. And he's like, you know what? You guys look like you could use a job. And it's like, I like that. Some people might say that, oh, Boba Fett's getting too nice. And it's like, no, he sees an opportunity to turn these people who are just, hoodlums, ne'er-do-wells. How often do they well? Nair. But then the whole bike chase or whatever, loved it, because each of the members,
15-mile-per-hour bike chase,
right? Each of the members got to show their droid parts off and how they use them in unique ways or whatever, and I love that. Absolutely loved it. And obviously we got to see our boy Black Chewie. We got to see him fight, and that was fucking awesome. His fucking gauntlets, poof, awesome. Absolutely loved it. So episode 3, go ahead.
So episode 3 for me, for one, I'm going to make this blanket statement. I have pretty much confirmed at this point that the issues with this show are totally user perception, and the fact of its episodic release.
Yeah,
because
definitely.
If this was just binged all the way through, all of our complaints would not be an issue.
Absolutely.
If you think about it, and kind of what I figured out is the issue that most people are having. I mean, your whole thing with the flashbacks is legitimate, because up till episode 3, it's kind of like, you're not giving us an explanation. There were theories of, is he really dying and he has to stay in there for periods of time to be able to heal? But the whole thing with it is everyone was wanting to see Boba Fett be this, bounty hunter badass that we've seen and kind of expected out of 40 years. And then when we see him, He's chilling in a bathtub a lot of time, and he is being very nice to these ne'er-do-wells. And so for us, like every week, we're like, what it's just kind of it was disappointing to a lot of people.
Right.
Yeah, the two biggest issues, especially after episode 3, I feel like that's when it had its pinnacle, because you had people like, Star Wars Theory, popular Star Wars YouTuber, who straight up said in his video title, I didn't like it. The whole kids, like the whole
the motorbike
cyborg,
yeah,
and then the motorbikes themselves, they're like, it seemed very Power Ranger-ish, and like it was, they seemed like they didn't belong. I spent a lot of time on this thinking about this, but it wasn't until I was talking to like Anthony and Jeff, and we were talking about, like, because my biggest thing that I could understand people's concern was that they didn't look like they didn't belong on Tatooine. Because that was my thing, is like they just felt really out of place, and it just felt kind of weird. It did feel kind of weird Disney-ish, because it just felt out of place. But we were talking, and he was like, well, yeah, they're like, they don't belong there. That's kind of like everyone on Tatooine. No one on Tatooine belongs there, and they're just either trying to leave or trying to make their way so they can leave. And I was like, oh, okay. Yeah. And that perspective kind of changed it a little bit. But after episode 3, I'm with you to where, like, I was ready to see what was coming next. And luckily, episode 4, I feel like they really just paid off. And it really, to me, was like, if you guys would have just shut up and just relaxed, you would have gotten what you wanted. Because I loved episode 4. Yeah. Episode 4, okay, now we got to get into it. What is it?
Well, first off, the whole motorbike thing, like, boo fucking who? I don't know. Like, of course, this is me right before ragging on the show, so keep that in mind. But still, it's like people will bitch about anything. Episode 4, like, the whole thing's a flashback, and it's one of those things. Like, when we have...
Oh, it's not.
It's one of those things where you have a prequel and they feel the need to explain everything. And it's like, okay, we get it. He found her, and then he went and repaired her, and then they went and did something else, and then they did it's like, it's too fucking much. Like, we get you guys got together at some time, and we even saw that little, stinger where he was walking towards her. You know what I mean? Like, I get it. I fucking get it. But dear fucking God, we didn't need that much. Okay? The most pointless part of the entire fucking episode was going back to the Sarlacc pit. Now, New Rockstars tried to explain it away like, oh, he was covered in stomach acid, so that meant that he just didn't remember. And I'm like, no, I'm sorry, no, I don't fucking buy it. He just doesn't fucking remember the little, like, midgets taking his armor from him. He honestly thought it was still back in there. He didn't remember clawing his way out of the fucking Sarlacc. I'm sorry, I don't fucking buy it. So that entire goddamn segment, even though it ended like that part, just like nerd jizz everywhere, right? But dear fucking God, was it so fucking pointless. And it's like, this is the antithesis of this goddamn series. Pointless. Really fucking good production value, actors, the backstory, everything, but fucking pointless. So fucking pointless, and I'm goddamn sick of it. Now, let me tell you the one thought I had in my fucking head right before, literally, I'm like in bed, getting ready to click play on my phone, okay? And this is the thought that came to my head. The whole thing about the bikers, it's like, I like the bikers, but it made the people because we were talking about this before, it made the people get on Twitter and say, oh, don't worry, guys, it gets better. And literally, right before clicking play, I'm like, I hope by better they don't mean just some stupid cameo. And then what's it end with? Woo, 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 woo. I'm like, fuck off! Jesus fucking Christ. So, yeah, your turn.
That's just something that we're just going to have to agree to disagree on 100%. Because this episode,
I was the Mandalorian. I'm okay with the Mandalorian. But
Well,
dear
no, no,
fucking
no.
God, like that's what's gonna save, quote unquote, save this fucking is a better bounty hunter from a different show. Like, okay, yeah, good fucking job, Disney. Anyways,
Well, for one, I don't feel like the show needs saving at all. You know, and
yeah,
it's one of those that
yeah,
like I do think episode 4 really brought it back because it made Boba be Boba. Like I feel like this is the first episode we've gotten so far where like him going, I'm Boba Fett. And it was like not just a title and him being, because legitimately all we've seen from present day stuff is him being what we know now is strong and wise. But for people who are like, I've seen him be this ruthless bounty hunter, or I've seen him for 15 minutes of screen time,
right.
know enough of being this bounty hunter, vicious bounty hunter, and we see him like, making these deals and being, a mob boss that doesn't get his hands dirty. Whereas this, it brings him back to, and I personally loved how they brought all that back together. Like whenever he was on the sand dunes and saw the flare go off, I was like, what was that? And then he started getting close and I saw her body on the ground. I was like, oh, okay. They're connecting it with what was in The Mandalorian.
Mm-hmm.
And I do think the whole scene of her getting repaired did go a little bit long, personally, but I was like, okay, now, real fun Easter egg I noticed in the credits. You know that song, he's got a few different ones, but the one that's like, oh, I just want to party with you all night. It's like, doom, 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 doom. It's got I'll send it to you. It's a real catchy song. The artist who sings that song was the
droid
guy.
Yeah.
Was the doctor guy. And yes, while I agree, like half of the episode was a flashback, I liked how it pretty much ended, like, because it was 48 minutes long, which that I will say is the biggest thing I'm frustrated about the show is the inconsistency of the episodes.
Right.
Why are some 20 or 30? Why are some 30 minutes and why are some 50? But like with this, pretty much on the dot, half of the episode was that, and half the episode was the present day stuff.
Yeah.
Because the way they ended that whole Sarlacc pit scene, Jesus, is like you could have ended the episode there the way that they framed it.
Right.
But then they went there. But the whole thing with the Sarlacc pit, because Marissa asked that same question and about his armor, and I was like, well, the thing is the whole acid thing, whatever, he was knocked out. Home dude like crawled out of the Sarlacc pit, laid on the sand for who knows how long, and it wasn't until later, and as the suns were actually setting, when it was darker, that we see the Jawas come up, and so we don't know how long he was there. So I totally buy that he was completely, because you think about it like this, he was basically baptized in acid. The Beskar armor obviously kept him safe, but like he went through an extremely traumatic experience with that and then crawled out. So I buy that he doesn't have any recollection of the Jawas taking his armor because he didn't move a muscle whenever they did.
Yes, he did.
And even if he, well, I was going to say, if he did, it was very much out of a deliriousness. So, but to him, that was the last known location where his armor was.
Sorry, the unicorn is representing your explanation because it's fucking fantasy.
But yeah, going up to the... Well, let me ask you this. What do you think about the whole thing of them going to get the ship? Because I thought that whole action scene was cool. Like seeing them work together.
That's fine. That's fine when it comes to them actually working together and stuff like that. Like, that's fine. And I mean, I guess I have to have the prerequisite of telling people that I do like the show. It's just that all this little stuff really keeps it from being like great. Like, it's good, but it could be great. You know what I mean? And that's my main problem with it is, just like you were saying, like, I was ready to see what happened next. So going from, ooh, what's going to happen next to back to Taint. Fuck!
Yeah, well, lucky for you, that is the last that we're going to see of it.
Supposedly. I mean, he's fully healed, right? Just not on the inside. I don't. That is my main problem. Is just that like starting the episode with him in the back. I was like, oh, is this it?
Yeah,
this is it. Oh, fuck.
I knew you were gonna. When I saw that happen, I was like, oh, he's gonna hate this. But that is like, I think another thing too, because there is a lot of stuff that people are theorizing, of course, but there was another one that had took the, you remember from Solo, the necklace that that Darth Maul and Kira were wearing, like the half sun looking thing.
Maybe.
I'll send you the picture,
Right.
but that's the logo for Crimson Dawn.
Gotcha.
And apparently what they did from the first couple episodes, whenever they meet the mayor in Book of Boba Fett, there's a lot of his furniture and even his necklace that has that same kind of emblem.
Nice.
And there's a rumor that what's Daenerys' name?
Yes.
Daenerys is going to have her own show. Like there's a rumor that she's getting something. So I do think that we are going to see Crimson Dawn be fully realized and bring Darth Maul back. But also as a Clone Wars fan, for me, another reason why I love this show is a lot of characters that I've only seen animated, I've seen fully realized in live action in the show.
Yep.
We've got the Pikes. We've got the do you know Hondo, the character Hondo? He's have you seen the stuff for the Millennium Falcon ride at Galaxy's Edge?
No.
Okay. I don't remember the name of the alien, but they're the ones that the guards, the ones that had like the real wrinkly brown skin.
Like the piggies?
No, not the Gamorrean guard. No, the other ones. So these type of aliens.
Oh, so I guess those aren't the lizard ones. Those are different ones. Okay, so yeah.
Yeah, so those type, and then the whole thing with the Pikes. We got to see the Pikes for the very first time. So I think this show, what I'm getting at long form is by the end of this season, I think we are going to realize, oh, okay, this is kind of how The Mandalorian was, because within the first season of The Mandalorian, we already knew it was going to be a staple, but we really didn't know where they were going. Right. It wasn't until season 2 where it cemented where it was in the world and cemented its importance in the Star Wars universe.
Yeah.
And I feel like this is what it's doing too. It's building out this next level of a universe, but we're still stuck in the in-between days.
Yeah.
So I think once it finishes and we can fully binge it, we're going to have a different opinion on it.
Yeah.
Maybe.
I mean, 100% I agree with the whole binging thing, because like a really good example is like Walking Dead season 2. Walking Dead season 2, half of that season is so gut-wrenchingly boring, and that's because week to week it's like, Sophia, are you here? No. Are you over here? No. Are you over here? No. Oh, look at these flowers. She's totally going to be okay. Ends up being fucking dead. Like, fuck!
Yeah.
So it's like, but going back like probably a year later, maybe 2 years later, because I think I was rewatching 3 on Netflix, so it had to have been like 2 years later. But rewatching season 2 all together, it still sucked, but it sucked way less, because I didn't have to wait a week to figure out, oh, this is another crappy episode. Because like that's Walking Dead's biggest problem. Sorry, side tangent. That's Walking Dead's problem, is that like one episode could be great and one episode could be shit. So having to wait week to week to figure out which is it going to be was really fucking bad. And so like, I'm having the same kind of vibes from this. It's like, I don't think if this was more of a movie where I was just watching it as a movie, I don't think I would mind the flashbacks so much. But having to wait a week just to find out that half the fucking episode is a flashback is definitely what triggers me.
Yeah, and from a very minute perspective, let me ask you this.
Who you call small?
You liked Rogue One, didn't you?
Yeah.
Do you think that you would potentially like the Book of Boba Fett better if it was shot similarly to that, to where it was a little bit darker in tone, a little bit more like war crimey?
Yeah. I mean,
not war crimey, but
I mean, yeah.
You know what I mean?
I mean, this is supposed to be the criminal underworld, so everything being really well lit doesn't make that much sense. Like Danny Trejo standing in a goddamn cave, completely well lit, doesn't make any sense. But I see.
Well,
I see
mean also the tone too.
Yeah.
One of the things with the complaints that I was noticing is, again, this is a Robert Rodriguez show.
Yes.
And if you have watched a lot of his stuff, Spy Kids or Machete, I mean, he has in his filming style a certain level of camp, or a certain level of like a perfect example of that is going to be Mandalorian season 2. His episode where him and Boba, where we see Boba fight for the first time.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah.
It just, if you go back and rewatch it compared to even the last episode where Luke shows up, you can watch it and see that it looks and feels a little different. Like it feels like a different kind of show.
Yeah.
So I think that could have something to do with it in a very minor sense. But yeah, with Walking Dead season 2, that's great because I watched it the first time binging, and I remember my ex, whenever I was going into binging The Walking Dead, I'd only seen the first season, and she was like, you're gonna hate the second season, but it's kind of important. So I would just watch it, and I watched it, and I was like, that was fine. But I remember my teacher, my English teacher, was actually the first one who showed me The Walking Dead because we had a zombie project. She's my favorite teacher. But I remember her complaining about season 2, how it was boring and awful. And I think that we're going to be looking back. Actually, we're going to go ahead and do that now. So yeah, let's this time next year, when the show completely finishes. Well, I mean, it's going to finish before a year, but let's do a full rewatch and see if our opinion changes from where it's at now. But yeah, Nick hates it, and I love it.
Man, like...
Oh no! Well, like I was hoping that's where they were going with it, but whenever it grabbed on to, which we'll also say this, I don't mind the Fire Spray name change. I don't mind it.
First off, it's not, Fire Spray is not the name of Slave One. Fire Spray is the class of ship. Okay, get your shit right. Okay.
But no, I haven't seen the new Rockstars.
Yeah.
But I, like, whenever that went to happen, I was like, he's not going to do it. And she was going to press the button. I'm like, they're not going to do it. And then it comes out, and I literally was like, oh, and it happened, and I was like I spasmed.
Yeah.
I love it.
Too bad it was at the end of the most pointless scene in the entire series. But yeah, sure. We don't talk about that. We don't talk about Brew. No. Alrighty. So, that's what we're thinking. Hopefully the last 2 episodes will be flashback free. Plus, freaking Pedro Pascal is going to be there. So I definitely feel like the last 2 are going to be great. And yeah, that's what we think about it. We want to know what you guys think about us. Let us know in the comments below. I was Nick.
And I was Nate.
And you guys have a good day. Girl, you look mighty fine. Won't you rub your fingers down